full amount, I do believe, but you have the contract.
Right, and they each have a cut. They each get a cut.
Okay,
Okay,
so if
so
I were to
the
make a
original
motion, I want to make the
survey-
right motion.
Then you, if you're going to make the motion, it would be for the 11,440.
Okay, thank you. I will make a motion that we move ahead with SMMA for the $11,440.
Do we have a second? I'll second it. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Mrs. Farrell?
Abstain.
Diane?
Yes.
Yes. So, motion carries, 2 in favor, 1 abstention. So, we can bring Ken back now?
Yeah.
John, before you, with that being said, maybe just a formality, but I would assume that the board is going to back the committee with the site chosen as far as to move forward to, as far as it'll go. I mean,
We could take a vote on that if you want.
I mean,
I'm not seeing a whole lot of other options.
well, we have to, I'm just trying to be politically correct, so there's no, well, the committee did this and something like that.
When have you been political?
The first one,
What he's been
I
told.
I didn't have to voice my own opinion. But no different than when we did the MVW, we reported saying that was our first chosen, and we looked for your backing on it, but of course it just didn't work, so.
Okay.
But I think for namesake, it would be nice if you're gonna vote the 11,440 for the survey, that you might want to just, a little caveat on there and vote for the site itself, you know.
Okay, so you want me to amend my
No,
No, it doesn't
motion?
be amended.
I think
Sorry.
if we amend your motion to
I don't
say
want to amend my
survey of the Templeton Center School
Oh,
property.
I'm sorry.
No, it's really just an endorsement from the select board,
That you support.
that you support the Templeton Center site. 'Cause
Okay.
It's really our only
All
one.
right,
It's not really asking you to pick one, there's only one left.
all right.
I support the Templeton Center site.
You want to make that a motion?
I'll make, how do you want me to make that motion?
It's just a formality, but we just, we
How
don't have
about
to.
the Board of
you know.
Selectmen agree with the building committee's
That we
recommendation?
accept the recommendation.
That we accept the
of
recommend, I'm sorry.
For the TC site.
So I make a motion that the Board of Selectmen agree with the elementary school building committee with the selection of the site for Templeton Center.
Second.
Make sense? Did that make sense? Thank you.
Very nice.
Do we have a second?
Julie
I
second.
just said,
Second. Any other discussion? If not, Julie?
yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, we are unanimous.
Thank you so much, really appreciate it.
I have a couple of questions for you, Ruth. I had asked before about the end of the year report and the budget to actuals, because when is the budget scheduled for the
I just got that
school?
in writing from Bob today.
Okay.
The end of the year report is this big,
Mhm.
and so we will have to copy it if there will be a cost of that. And the budget to actual, how many years we're probably going to have to.
Well, probably
defend that.
Last fiscal year and this
Yeah,
fiscal
we're
year.
all done with that.
Correct, year, fiscal year, and then last year.
Last year, yeah.
Okay.
So
I
it's,
don't think,
In
you-
addition to moving forward.
is that okay?
That's
You
small.
just
I
said
should talk about it,
year-to-date
both right now,
actuals
not
is
later.
2 years.
Budget versus actual for 2 years.
Current year and past year. Correct?
that's what I wanted, was current year and last
year.
year's.
Years, I thought it
Right.
might be 14 and 13, because,
Oh, okay.
well, we could do up to dates this year, I guess, as far as we are.
Okay, so it'll
Alright.
take a little bit to get them to. but-
Yeah.
That's budget to actual.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
The other,
Is there a deadline you needed it for?
Sorry.
well, when are we, well, we have a budget, subcommittee meetings will be meeting shortly, won't they?
Yeah, we're just, it's so unfortunate that we're not even gonna know what our revenues are, going into budget hearings this year.
Right.
And so, we're still struggling with how to estimate our revenues and come up with a reasonable figure for that, for chapter 70 and the minimum contribution. I believe that none of that's gonna be out. So, any assistant, Bob, that you might have ideas of how to project what your minimum contributions are gonna be, would be helpful. And I'm in contact with the Department of Education to help me see if last year you had a fairly significant increase because they were trying to catch you up for the And my understanding is that is going to happen again this year, but I really don't want to project that, if in fact it isn't. So soon, I think we are thinking a couple more weeks before we start the actual budget hearings with everybody there, so that we have more of a firm ground, as squishy as it's going to be.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, I also, I contacted the Historical Commission to try to put an article forward using CPC money to fix the Templeton Center roof.
Uh-huh.
Is it possible for you to bring that before the school committee so they can vote whether they want to do that or not?
Well, I think typically well, I mean, given the vote that you just took about the
Right.
Templeton Center School, who put this forward? I guess you know what, the best thing, Julie, is if you put it in writing to
Okay.
me, and then I'll bring it to the school committee for
It's
their,
not a school committee decision. It's a town-owned building.
it is a town building.
Right.
We make recommendations of capital to the town, and I know that's been a recommendation that we've made over the
In the
last
past,
several
right.
years. But yeah, that would be capital planning.
Thank you.
Anything else? Are you good?
No, that's good.
Thank you.
The next item that we have on the agenda is to discuss the amendment to the purchase and sale agreement, but we're going to discuss that as part of our executive session. So skipping over that for now, the next item we have is action on deficit spending for veteran services.
The background there, Mr. Chairman, is that the appropriation is not sufficient to cover the anticipated need for veterans' benefits, and so the agent came and said he's going to be running out of money shortly. Legally, you may authorize, with the concurrence of the advisory board, you may authorize the deficit spending. Remember, we get 3/4 of the money back, but we get it back next year.
Right.
As revenue. So it's likely that veterans' benefits this year are going to cost in the range of $90,000.
Okay.
Obviously, there are more vets coming back from our wars in the Middle East, and that's what's going on. So we'll get the 3/4 of the revenue back next year, and we'll try to cover the shortfall at the end of this year with transfers. If we can't, we'll just put it on the tax recap next year,
Okay.
as we've done with snow and ice.
Gotcha.
Also, we have discussed snow and ice, but I don't believe there's an actual, Holly, I had Holly look, I don't believe you voted on that. We don't need to do deficit spending at this point. But as I mentioned to you, the shocking increase in the cost of salt is going to use up, if we have a normal year with the normal amount of salt that we use, it will use 120,000 of the 125,000 that we budgeted. Now, every year the town budgets 125. We run short and typically spend 175 to 180 on snow clearance. We would, again, we need the authority to do it, but legally in Massachusetts, with a vote of the Board of Selectmen and the Advisory Board, we can get that done. And again, we'll cover it on the tax recap, which is what we did in fiscal 15 for the $51,000 deficit that we had in the snow and ice account from the past winter.
Okay. So would you like a vote on the deficit spending for the veteran services now?
Yes.
I just have to ask a
Yep,
question.
sure.
I'm sorry. I opened up the budget, and I know it increased. I didn't see that it increased to 90. What were we at right now? I guess I'm looking, I want to know like what the shortfall amount is possibly going to be. I mean, I thought we had only budgeted in like a small, do you have that open, Julie? I
Yeah,
did
I'm
look
trying to
at
look
it, but
for
in
it.
my head,
Is it,
I can't remember, because I knew we had talked about this before. So it was like 30,000, 40,
no, it
it's close
was,
to,
it was
that was
around
more.
Okay.
50,
All right.
60 maybe?
I mean, I know we'll get
60,
reimbursed, but-
Budget to actuals,
15,
here.
let's see, 15 veterans, 60.
be a $60,000
So we have,
shortfall that we're going to
as of this month, we
possibly,
will have
yeah.
consumed the 60.
So it's great
And
that
the
we're,
veterans agent estimated a need
90.
for about 90 this year, based on the monthly outlay.
so it'd be 30, so 60 to, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was just, okay.
Yeah, so the difference that we would have to make up, if we can find it through transfers.
Yeah.
Will be 30.
30, okay.
The hit that we would take next year if we can't find the money would be 30.
We still get reimbursed for 3/4 of what we
Yes.
Right.
use, correct?
And I did increase the
So
budget.
well, I looked at the budget, and you did increase it, but I
For
thought you
60.
increased it to 70.
I went to
Where did I
90.
see a number 70 from?
No,
No, I went to 90.
Was I looking at something different?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I did open the whole budget sheet up, and
I
it comes
think
up to like 58
90
pages, but,
might even be conservative. We have veterans coming back.
yeah,
And many of
Right.
them,
So
have
we
been
should-
injured.
Right.
And some of them have severe injuries based
Right.
on the explosions, the IEDs and so forth.
okay.
And so they're approaching the veterans agent and taking benefits.
And it's great that our veterans agent is able
Oh,
to reach out
absolutely.
more so than,
Absolutely.
so this is a good thing that the
Yep.
benefits going
I
out
agree.
are
It's
going
good,
out.
but then we have to now, so to just look for, going forward, that we put in
So do
even,
we have to approve an amount, or do we just
No.
authorize?
We would just deficit.
Well, you can approve an amount if you want to, but
We'd be back
then
to
I
this
have to
again.
come back to you again
Yeah.
if we have to go above that. I mean, we're not going to spend lavishly here, we're just going to, contribute benefits
No, I
that
don't-
people are
I don't
eligible
think we're
for.
spending lavishly.
No.
I just think our veterans agent is
No.
doing a lot better job than maybe we anticipated.
He is, I can tell you, his salary is being cut in half. The salary that you contracted with him prior to my coming here has to be reduced to the range of between $9,000 and $10,000 because he is disabled and is receiving disability payments and was informed that there's a ceiling on the amount that he can earn as a result. And so 30 is not probably going to cover it, but we have an extra 10 in there that we'll also transfer. So we're going to be probably using 40 between now and the end of the year.
okay.
I'll make a motion to authorize the veterans agent to enter into deficit spending as needed.
Is there a second?
Second.
First and a second, any further discussion?
I do.
Yes.
I have some. The whole reason why I voted to go with our own veterans agent versus being part of North Quabbin was because I felt that there were a lot of veterans who weren't getting the services that they needed and were entitled to. And this is not an unexpected bump.
Right.
I went to a legislative breakfast a couple of years ago, and the city of Gardner, for years, their veterans' benefits was $70,000, but since they opened up the outreach center and a few other places there, it's gone up to $700,000.
Wow.
So I don't think we're going to approach that number. But it's something that if you're doing things right, that's what's going to
Yeah.
happen, so.
I agree.
Yes, Kate?
It's on the average about $9,000 right now monthly spend on benefits.
Mhm.
So you're talking over 90.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Yes.
I think that John, that guy's doing a great job, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Compared to what we weren't getting, what we were spending in years past,
Yeah,
it's phenomenal.
definitely. No, I definitely agree. Yes.
I think it's good to know that we have control over our own veterans' benefits now versus we had the door slammed in our face and we're even, get a court order, I think they told Julie. If you want to see what these books look like, get a court order.
It's great now that we have
We'll have
that.
that now.
Right, we have our own control over our own.
I think to go with Julie's, just as, how much is being spent now is a good thing. And it goes to show how lacking it really was, so,
So smart decision.
yeah. So,
Any further discussion? If not, Julie?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And I will vote yes. Are we okay with putting off the deficit spending vote for snow and ice until next time? Just we'll have it as its own.
Yeah, Bill, I can give you an up-to-date on that, but we don't have the crisis yet. In other words,
Okay.
the highway superintendent did not go out and buy all the salt for the year.
Right, right,
So we have some salt, we're gonna have to get more.
yeah.
That was the estimate between now and the end of the year, so
Just so we can have it as a
we're
separate.
fine,
Yeah.
we're fine for now.
Okay, great, so we can move that to the next time. The next item that we have is action on dedication of town hall conference room.
That was
Yes,
me.
hi.
We should have that open next week.
Wow.
And for a while now, I've been thinking about, when I first started, Jeff Ritter was telling me his vision about getting in there for a town hall. And I'm sure it was probably other people's idea as well, but I know he was really going for that. And I feel like he's done a lot for the town. So I'd really like to suggest that we dedicate that to Jeffrey W. Ritter, the conference room.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to?
I originally thought that was, I still agree with that in sentiment, but a few other people have approached me about different people's names, so I think maybe if we could take it under advisement
Okay.
and maybe put it up for discussion, or I don't know how to get, public input into that.
Okay.
Okay, but there are other names that have come forward. People have suggested Pat Dunleavy, who was a selectman for a long time, Paul Constantino, who, kind of spearheaded making sure that that building was preserved and kept up, Will Spring. So there's been a number of names that have been put forward, and it's not to take anything away from Jeff Ritter's service to the town.
Is there anything else?
Yeah, I just think we need a little more thought on this.
Sure.
Like Julie said, maybe some other suggestions. I would like to hear from other people what their thoughts are.
Sure. Okay. So we can add this possibly to either the next agenda or probably the next agenda to maybe, and maybe we can put something as well on the town's website that if anyone has any suggestions as to people who they would like to bring forward to have the new conference room dedicated to, that they can do that as well, so we have some input and Is there anything else on that topic for now? So we'll continue that conversation at our next meeting.
I think if, we'd also spoken about the Purple Heart having some display. I believe we were gonna do it in that room.
Oh, okay. So that may be something else then that we'll want to follow up with.
Those are on the wall already.
That's, yeah.
Is
around
it?
the wall.
They're
Yeah.
outside though.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, that didn't get disturbed with the bathroom stuff.
You mean I've been walking by it all this time?
Yes, sir.
Thinking that building, what are we gonna do with that capital up there, front, top in front of the building? That's falling all apart. Next time they put a windstorm, and that back one's gonna fall off, then you're gonna lose the top. I think it's time you go around the inside and take a look at that. The clapboard-
I think we've talked about asking students to, Monty Tech students to help out with that. There's no money right now to have it done. I agree with you, I've been up there, I've looked at it close up, and it's in need of repair. It'll probably get through this winter and maybe another couple of years. There's work that's needed there, and we don't have funding at this point. And it's going to have to be taken down and taken apart, so it's not a small job.
Yes.
I had actually mentioned to Bob too that I had a relative that wants to come in and take it down and rebuild it for the town, so
Oh, wow.
we can look into that too, if he still wants to.
Oh, great, that would be great. The next item that we have, if we're going to, before we go into executive session or vote as to whether or not to go into executive session, we'll have our selectmen's comments. If I will start real quickly, I just wanted to point out that the Attorney General has approved, I don't know if you saw it in the newspaper, but has approved the sex offender bylaw with some notes, so we'll obviously follow her notes to make sure that that is appropriately implemented, but that was approved by the Attorney General. So it will not affect residents who currently, in their current homes, but moving or new residents moving in, it will have an impact on. Julie, did you have anything you'd like to discuss?
I just wanted to thank Bob Markle and the advisor, and Will Spring and the advisory board for developing this new format for the budget. I think it will make it very clear and concise how much money we have, where it's going. I like the tabs, I like the format, I like the layout. You know, having seen a few of these in my day, this is much easier to work with.
Thank you, Bob and Mr. Spring. John, did you have anything?
We had our meeting of the reuse committee for the Templeton Developmental Center this morning. I thought we had a good meeting. We focused in on some specific issues, and we're going to start talking a lot more about details instead of generalities there. I think it was a good group. I think people are on both sides are approaching it as that we have to mutually work together for the best interests of both the town and the state. And Kirk is keeping us in line in case anybody gets astray.
Yeah, good.
I'm even keeping the state in line too. Actually, we're actually waiting, if you don't mind, John, I'll follow up. We're waiting for some maps because they still haven't actually identified the specific land mass, buildings and whatnot for discussion. So right now, the conversation still just keeps kind of going around in a circle. So until we have a focal point, and the state said they were hoping to get those to us, to the town in the next couple of few weeks.
And we will be meeting February 9th.
Second Mondays.
Second Monday, and hopefully we can do it at Town Hall.
Yeah. I just have one question. Who is in charge up there now? Has it switched to DCAM?
No,
No,
No?
not yet.
Okay.
it's still the same deal, everything's still the same, they haven't switched out the torch yet.
What about the surplus? Well, where does that stand? They had submitted that, correct?
They still haven't, if I could,
Yeah.
they still haven't, the state hasn't given it to DCAM in its
Okay.
entirety yet, for DCAM to send out the notice to the state agencies for who wants what. And at that time, they'll send it to surplus, and that's what we're trying to gear up for, is being in position when it becomes surplus, but they haven't actually identified it yet, because they still don't know.
Okay,
It's getting close, they know it, no one's putting on writing yet.
okay. Just couldn't remember where that conversation
We're hoping to have the
stood.
maps and the identified parcels within the next 2 to 4 weeks.
Not me.
Well, yeah, I think that the discussion, it'd be a whole lot easier once we have the maps and we can identify, because there's only, what do they say, 79 acres out of the thousands up there that we're talking about. So we need to know where they are.
Because we don't even know if we're fighting for or against.
As long as we're fighting, that's good.
I might be right all this time. We don't want it.
And we have bad cop on our side.
We're bad cops on our side.
So that's going to be ongoing, and we certainly hope to have this wrapped up by June, have a agreement in place.
Oh, great.
Well, to bring back to the town. All right. The other thing, I heard that the highway department spent a lot of time over in Town Hall last week helping winterize and take care of some draft and heating problems, so thank you to the highway department.
Yes, the store windows are not in very good condition, or they are leaking air, let's say that. And I had some complaints from that large room there where the planning department is, and that set off sort of a chain of complaints. And so I had asked Holly if she would get some of those plastic coverings for the windows, and she did, and we distributed them around. And, you know, the windows are very tall, and you need to be on a stepladder actually to reach the top of them. So we were all going to do it ourselves, but then it became clear that this was a bigger job. So Holly actually recruited the highway department to come, and they did pretty good work. today, everyone noticed, at least I noticed when I walked in, how much warmer it was. And we haven't changed the temp.
Great.
Just that we're not losing, the infiltration of cold air seems to have been cut down a lot.
Great. Saving money on heating too, so good.
I don't do anything halfway either. I asked Bud, and I figured they'd throw a few things up and be done. They were there for hours. They went and got insulation and just went crazy downstairs,
Oh, good.
sealing everything on.
And a hairdryer.
Oh, wow, great. Glad to hear it. Is that all?
Just
Yep.
to follow up on
Oh,
that.
sure.
I think there is one more big need, and that's to get more insulation into the attic.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. Should be on the capital program because we are losing heat that way. I don't know what the R factor would be, but my guess is it wouldn't get to 10 if we actually took account of what we have there now.
Wow.
So,
Diane, did you have anything? Okay. So if not, that concludes the selectmen's comments. The next agenda item that we have is to vote to go into executive session per Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21.3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect